Hi, well I'm due to collect my puppy Callie in a few days' time now, so I've got all my bits and pieces ready so that I'm prepared for her to come. So what I'm going to do now is go through all the bits and pieces that I've got, all the equipment that I've got, so this will help you when you go and get yourself your puppy and plan to get your puppy. So to start with, I've actually got a puppy pen here. I'll be using the puppy pen for Callie. This is where she's going to spend time on her own when I'm not able to supervise her. And in this I'll be putting a bed. I'll also be using some of the puppy pads here. Although I don't really intend for her to actually use these normally to go to the toilet on, if I'm going to be leaving her for a couple of hours or just short periods, then I'm just going to give her the option that she can use a puppy pad, particularly if she's going to be so young at only 7-8 weeks old. Also here I've got some vet bed. This is the fleece bedding. This is really good for puppies. I'm going to use this in my crate and also in the bed as well within the puppy pen. It's great because even if it gets wet, it will take the moisture away from the puppy and still leave a dry surface for the puppy to actually lie on. So I've got plenty of that because I'm sure the washing machine will be busy washing that. So I've also got a crate here that I'm going to be using with Callie. I'm going to be using this when I'm travelling with her in the vehicle, but I'm also going to be using this for time periods where I want her to be on her own and be left. To start with, I wouldn't be able to put her in either the crate or the puppy pen and just shut the door. What I would be doing to start with is actually leaving the door open so that she can get used to it and feeling as though this is a nice little den for her to be able to go in and out of. I can also do other things, and this will require other pieces of equipment that I've got here that will make life a lot easier for her getting used to both the crate and the puppy pen and settling into those. I will be going through those in another video so that you'll be able to see exactly how I do that. But one of the essential pieces of equipment you're going to need is something called a Kong. This is actually a puppy Kong. You are best getting one that is actually specifically for puppies. It's made of rubber, and this rubber is specifically for puppies' tiny little teeth. But if you notice here, the actual Kong itself is actually hollow, and what I can do is I can actually put some of Callie's food in here. And with Callie, I'm going to be feeding her raw food. She's going to be fed on Natural Instincts raw food, and that's absolutely ideal because I'll be able to stuff her Kong with the Natural Instincts, and I'll be able to pop that in either in the crate with her or equally in her puppy pen, and that will keep her busy and take her mind off the fact that she's actually been left alone. So, real essential piece of equipment that you need for puppies. Another good thing you can have is various treat balls on the market, which are really good. So I can use Natural Instincts beef jerky. I can cut that into tiny little pieces, pop them in there, and I can teach my puppy to push this around, and she'll spend a bit of time actually pushing that around, working out how to get the food. So that will keep her occupied as well. There's various other products there are, made by Kong again. There's this nice soft rubber, there's a little teething stick and a little bone. And again, these have got little areas and little hollows in them where you can actually use the food and put them in, so it's much more appealing to the puppy. So these are great things to be leaving with your puppy when you're not around. And equally, they've got this new Kong satellite toy as well, which is again another little treat one, which gets the dog to use its brain. We pop the treats inside, and what the dog's got to do is work out how to actually move this around for the treats to come out. So again, it's all about occupying your puppy's mind when we've actually contained the puppy and when we're not around with the puppy. As well as that, she's going to need things that she can chew on. So things like this is for puppies. This is by Nylabone, and this is great because it's actually got a flavour in it which will encourage the puppy to chew. But also I can leave her with raw bones, etc. as well, which I can get from Natural Instinct there. As well as that, we've got an array of little toys, little soft toys. These are great because some of these squeak. Another one here. So we just want a nice collection, nice little squeaky pig here that will keep the puppy occupied as well. Soft toys, etc. So all these sorts of things that we can actually interact. And these are more the sort of toys that we'll be able to interact and play with our puppy when we're bonding with the puppy as well. So I'm going to look forward to getting all of those out and playing with her as well. Here we've got some raggy toys. These are brilliant. These are somebody's made these specially. One of my friends has made these specially for her. Lots of different tuggy toys. Being a Malinois particularly, she will really enjoy tugging because it's one of the things they enjoy doing. So she's certainly got plenty to go out there. And then we've got another little tuggy toy here, which I can pull around and I can interact with her and teach her how to play tug and motivate her as well. So that's good. And again, nice ball on a rope so that I can actually throw it and start teaching her retrieve games. Another thing that I won't be wanting to do with my puppy is I'll be wanting to teach her how to be groomed. So a nice little soft brush here that I can actually start getting her used to being groomed and being handled. And as well as that, I've got some towels here which are going to be handy, particularly sort of for the journey home where she might be a little bit sick or anything like that. And also if she's out and about or she gets wet, it means that I can towel her off. And that. So she's got her own little towels there as well. Got a nice little bed here. This soft bed's great. Because what I'll be able to do with this bed, and something I'll be showing you in one of the future videos, is how I can teach my puppy to just lie down and settle, maybe while I'm watching television or something like that. So if I've got a nice comfortable place for her to be, that's what I'm going to be using this particular bed for. So this will be her special place where she can sort of lie down and be nice and calm as well. So the other thing to remember is to make sure that you've got plenty of food for your puppy. So I've got my food ready here. This is my frozen Natural Instinct food. So I've got my freezers full of this, waiting for her coming. Just remember though, the day before, if you've got frozen food like I've got here, to actually get it out of the freezer and give it that 24 hours to defrost so that you're actually ready. So when she comes home, you have actually got something to feed her there. Also, treats are a good idea to use. This is the beef jerky I mentioned that I'm going to cut up into tiny pieces. Nice and natural, no additives, so it's not going to upset her tummy. And also I've got some of these liver treats which are really handy as well, because I can break these up into little pieces, put them in my treat ball, but I can also use them to get her to respond to training exercises as well. So anything like that, we need to stock our freezer up with everything like that. So I've got my food bowls here as well, so I've got 3 different sizes. One of these I'll actually use for her water. These are nice and stable, they're not going to be easy for the puppy to tip over. And the other good thing about these bowls is that the actual inside comes out. So I can clean these, particularly with using the raw food as well. I need to make sure that I keep everything clean. So I can run these through the dishwasher or give them a bit of a clean myself between feeds and then put them back in. But once they're in there, it's a non-slip bowl so that she's not going to be able to push the water or her food around and make too much of a mess. So I've got different sizes there ready. So as well as all the other bits and pieces I've got for feeding, etc., on top of that I've got all the items that I require which are going to really help me when I'm training and educating her. It makes life a lot easier if we've got certain pieces of equipment available to us, so that it's much easier to teach her exactly what I require from day one. So the first thing that I've actually got is the recall line. This is a special one because it's very light and it's deliberately small. It's got a small clip on it so that it's nice for puppies. She's going to wear that when she's out so that I can actually start to direct her and make sure that she responds to a recall. I will show you how to use this in a future video when we teach the recall. I've also got a puppy house training line which will attach to her collar when she's wandering around the house, and all this means is it gives me a little bit more control. So if she's doing something I don't want her to do, I can just pick up the end of the house line and just divert her attention on something else that I want her to do. So rather than having to keep telling her off or trying to find a way of rushing up and stopping her doing something, say for example if she's chewing some electric cables, all I would need to do is take hold of the end of this house line and actually move her away and then put her attention on something else. So a really useful piece of equipment for a puppy, and again it's something that I'll show you how to use in future videos. When I'm training with a puppy, I do use lots of food and lots of positive reinforcement, so it's always handy to have a treat bag so I can keep this handy, have a load of treats handy so that I can use them to reward her when she's doing the right thing. I'm going to be teaching how to retrieve, so I've got a few little different retrieve items here. I'm not sure exactly which one she's going to like best. Lots of dogs like different things, so I've got this one that squeaks a little bit, so that's quite a handy one. And also I've got a normal training dummy here from the Company of Animals, one of theirs as well. Got a couple of balls here, tennis balls. I always find it's a good idea to motivate your puppy to toys, and I find that tennis balls are quite a good toy to use, particularly these because they've actually got a squeaker inside, so again they could be used to get your puppy's attention. And that's, I've got 2 different sizes here. Obviously, you know, it's important not to use one that's too small, but to start with she's only going to have a very small mouth, so this little one's going to be fine. As she grows a bit bigger, then she can have the bigger one, and I will dispose of this. A couple more toys I've got here is a little ball on a rope, again a small size to start with, but I'll have a bigger one later, and again a little ring here on a rope. So I'll be using these when I'm using toys to actually reward her and also to motivate her as well. Also I have my clicker. This is my Gilda Dog Trainers clicker. And this is something that I'll be conditioning Callie to. It's conditioning to the noise of the clicker, something I will be going through in one of the videos as well, and how you can use this. So definitely a good piece of equipment. Now I'm on to some of my leads. I've got a flexi lead, or one of these extending leads. Now this is only for me to use in the initial stages where I'm toilet training her, when I initially take her out to places where it's safe, where I can let her have a bit more freedom, but I don't want to actually be letting her off her lead. It's important with these never to use them when you're walking down the road, because it can be really, really dangerous, but just that's purely to pop on her when I want to use it, and as I say, I'll show you how to use that. This is a great piece of equipment. This is by the Company of Animals, and this is a belt that I would wear, and it's got a few attachments so that I can actually attach my puppy's lead to me. So if I want to be hands-free, if you like, and not have my hands on the lead, I can clip her onto my belt there, and then I've got both hands there where I'm training. So you'll see me wearing this at different times while I'm training. I've got the first lead, puppy first lead here, so just a nice little light lead, that's all we need to start with. As she grows bigger, then obviously I'll get a bigger and more substantial lead, but that's my first one. And also I've got a training lead here as well, which is a little bit longer, and what's really good about these training leads is we can make it longer, we can actually adjust it so it becomes a little bit shorter, and we've got lots of different adjustment points as well, so that's going to help for the training as well. Talking about leads, we've also got some collars, and I've got some great little collars here, various sizes. This is my first little puppy one. This will be her first little collar that she's going to get used to wearing. So just to start with puppy collars is just you want something that's really sort of quite soft, but also make sure that you've got something that has got a clip on it that is substantial, that isn't just going to snap off or come off unexpectedly. And the other thing I'll need to get here is an identification tag to go onto the collar. So I've got a few different sizes there of collars as well. So, looking around at all the bits and pieces I've got, I'm certainly prepared. And it is, as I say, a good idea to make sure that you've got everything available to you so that when your puppy comes, then you are ready to deal with everything and actually ready for the puppy's arrival.